Hello everyone, this is Damon here with Pixnub Software. This is just a quick video to discuss the different plugins we have that are useful for youth sports photography. And the first one, if you're shooting green screen, is Easy Green Screen. Now this is in 2 menu locations with the latest version. I'm going to demonstrate the extension panel here. And by the way, version 7 is going 100% to the extension panel menu. I'm just going to do a quick extraction and put that in a background. This is actually it works pretty well as long as your green screen is set up decent and you have good lighting. It usually doesn't give you too many issues. Alright, now that I got that extracted, I could just put that in a background. I guess it didn't copy. Go back and retry that. And of course you would scale and move it into place and then edit your text as you need. But it's really that quick and easy. Another thing you can do is batch process your extractions. Just going to do a quick demo here. And one thing too is you can save a preset in Easy Green Screen with the settings you want, and you can also apply those settings during the batch process. So I'm just going to run this. It's just doing 3 images to make it quick. And then we'll take a look at them when it's done. Alright, the batch process has finished. The 3 images in 43 seconds for 14 seconds an image. And this computer is actually usually considerably faster, but I am recording 4K video, which slows it down quite a bit. Anyway, let's just open up these images. And what's cool about the batch processing is you can just hit the go button and walk away, and you don't even have to be there when it's processing. You can see that we've got 3 really nice extractions. Okay, so the next demonstration I'm going to do is running the Sports Photo Automation plugin. Now what this is meant to do is to automate your composition building. Automating the extractions is okay, but you still have a lot of work left over if you do that with building your compositions. Well, this is meant to automate that whole process. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either use green screen images and run the extractions and build the compositions at once, or you can give it images that are already extracted, which is what I'm going to do here, and that way you can use it with images that you've sent to a lab for extracting or images that you've extracted with white screen as well. It doesn't have to be green screen. So I'm just using those extractions that I did in that last batch. And one thing I'm going to do is load some CSV data. And this data is meant for replacing text in your PSD template, among other things. It can do actually quite a few different things. But for this, I'm going to keep it simple. And here is the spreadsheet. And basically just replacing the first and last name and also rescaling the first and the last name to compensate for names that have different number of letters in them. Now, the resizing is optional, and even using this is optional, but I'm just going to demonstrate just a very basic CSV use here. So right now it's taking the first image and it's running face detection, and then it's building the composition based on the face positioning. And we'll take a look at these images when they're done. Alright, so that's finished the 3 images in 11 seconds an image. And actually this computer usually does those in about 7, but since I'm recording 4K video, it does slow it down considerably. And then we'll just open those images that it finished. You can see that now we have 3 completed images. And notice the position of the face if I go back and forth between the different images. The face is in the same position and the overall scaling is roughly the same for each image. And that's because it uses the face detection to automatically position the face and to scale the image. So even if you're not shooting exactly the same way, it's going to find the face and position and scale anyway. So also the text, you notice that it did replace the names from that spreadsheet. And as you can see, the players with less names in their, or less letters in their name take up the same footprint as the names that have more letters. Now that is, again, an optional thing. So the next program I want to discuss is Easy Team Builder. Going to do a multi-row team demonstration here. And there are some settings you can adjust for this row spacing and player scaling and alignments. Be sure to watch the other videos as well. I'm just going to change the player scaling down a little bit because this is a football team, and this will compensate for the shoulder pads so there's not as much overlap. And that's it. I'm just going to hit run. It'll ask to verify the settings. And then at this point it brings you up just a default row setting, but you can change these. And in this demonstration there's 8 coaches. So I think I'm going to make this 10 so there's 1 player on each side of the coaches. So you can just change these up as you need. You just have to make sure that the number of images in the folder equals the number of images that you've assigned to your rows. And it won't even let you continue unless those equal. Right, we'll just watch it finish. Alright, we're completed here, and it took about 4 minutes to build that team image. And then they're nice and organized into layer groups, and you've got 1 layer per player. And then you can move your rows around as needed, and you can also move individual players around or coaches as needed as well. So everything is adjustable. And that's about it. And like I said, there are some settings that you can do to change your row spacing and some other things, but be sure to watch the tutorials for that. Alright, so the last program I want to discuss is the image extract program. Now that's the one that's meant to help you out with white and gray screen extractions. If you've installed the old beta that was under the filter menu, make sure to uninstall that and reinstall the new one, which is a Photoshop HTML panel extension, and that'll be under the window and the extensions menu. I'm going to dock it into a tab group. This is how I like to work with them. And so this is different than Easy Green Screen. It's not a one-click extraction, but it can help you speed up your extractions. So it has a similar feature that Easy Green Screen has with the dual mask. And basically that allows you to select the hair, and then it's going to process those edges a little bit differently than it is the rest of the image. So once I've selected the hair, I'm going to select define hair area and select subject. So this is going to store that area as the hair region so it can apply the edges differently. Then it's going to run the Photoshop select subject. At this time you can use any of the Photoshop tools, and you can select the tools from the regular Photoshop menu as well, because being in an HTML panel you have full control of Photoshop at the same time. So you're just going to make the edges so they line up as good as you can at this point. And then once you hit the remove background, it's going through a pretty sophisticated process. You can see it's building a lot of layers and doing lots of things. It's trying to clean up those edges the best it can for you to minimize your workload with having to fine-tune those edges. Now you can see it brings you into the select and mask panel. The extraction actually looks pretty good. The hair area is a little bit softer and more feathered. And then around the uniform and the skin, you can see the edges are a lot cleaner, which is what you want. You want the hair more feathered. You also have control of your different settings, and you can brush in the select and mask. We don't really need to for this image, but you will have images that you need to touch up a little bit. But that just speeds up your workflow. And there's also a batch processor. And this is different than the green screen batch processor. It's not walk away, but what it will do is open up each image for you, and then as soon as you're finished, you hit save and continue, then it closes that and opens the next image. So it really speeds up your workflow. And once you're good at this, you can get this down to maybe a minute to 2 an image.